Angel Reese putting on a show, outduels Caitlin Clark with 25 points, 16 rebounds in the Sky's win over the Fever. Reese scored a career high to help Chicago beat Indiana 88-97.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a top athlete who everyone believes is invincible is caught up in a controversy that might terminate their career? Buckle up, because we're about to get into one of the most startling moments in WNBA history. Angel Reese, a popular figure who has created a reputation as a force to be reckoned with, has supposedly been found taking steroids, sending shockwaves across the whole sports world. This isn't just another headline, it might alter everything.
Angel Reese putting on a show, outduels Caitlin Clark with 25 points, 16 rebounds in the Sky's win over the Fever. Reese scored a career high to help Chicago beat Indiana 88-97.
Let's take a deeper look at how one of the WNBA's most prominent stars fell from grace. What was once a dizzying climb to prominence has now become a steep, jaw-dropping fall. And the most absurd part? It seems that this whole incident might have been averted if Angel Reese had chosen a different path. So how did we get here? How did someone who was on top of the world find herself in such a mess? Let's break everything down.
Reese is the first rookie since Aja Wilson with 25 plus points and 15 plus rebounds in a single game.
I'm a dog. You can't teach that. I'm going to go out and do whatever it takes to win, and every single night, my teammates rely on my energy. So being able to continue the energy, even if we're down, even if we're up, that's what I do.
Angel Reese has received a lot of attention, but not for the right reasons. She is a famous and vocal player in the WNBA, known for her aggressive demeanor and commanding presence on the floor. But she's now making headlines for all the wrong reasons. According to many sources, Angel Reese has been detected taking steroids, which might not only damage her image, but also terminate her career. Steroids in sports are a big concern. It's not just about breaching the rules. It's about betraying the confidence of fans, teammates, and the whole sports community. And for a player like Reese, who has been open about her status as one of the finest, the controversy is nothing short of devastating. So, what's really going on? How did this happen? And what are the next steps for the seemingly invincible player?
Just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Let's take a moment to discuss drugs and why they're such a big problem in professional sports. Steroids are merely a kind of cheating. They provide athletes an unfair edge by pushing their physical capabilities beyond their natural limitations. This is more than simply working out harder than everyone else. It's about artificially pumping up muscles, increasing stamina, and claiming to be an unstoppable force when, in fact, you're playing with a loaded deck. Steroids are prohibited in practically all sports for this reason. They alter the level playing field where athletes compete. It is not just about the immediate physical gains. Steroids may seriously harm an athlete's body and reputation. In a sport like basketball, where agility, speed, and power are essential, steroids may provide an artificial advantage that is virtually hard to compete with.
Goes out there, fights, gives it all she's got for her teammates every day, and they were relevant for a while before they went on this latest losing streak. But 26 double-doubles on the season, averaging a double-double, only the 5th rookie in WNBA history to pull that off. You can't say enough. The only thing you can say about her as a rookie is that she wasn't Caitlin Clark. That's about it. Everything else is nothing but positive, and even that is positive because everybody ain't gonna be the female version of Steph Curry, for crying out loud. That's what Caitlin Clark is, playing two different positions. But Angel Reese deserves all the credit in the world.
Heck of a season.
Heck of a season. I think she's got a really, really bright future.
Absolutely.
So when a player like Angel Reese, who has established her reputation as being powerful, impenetrable, and dominating, is accused of taking performance-enhancing drugs, it upsets everything she has constructed. It raises the question, was she really truly that good? Or was it all a ruse caused by illicit drugs? For fans, such a surprise may be heartbreaking. It alters your perspective on the person, the sport, and even the integrity of the game itself. You can't speak about Angel Reese without mentioning one of the WNBA's most visible rivalries, her continuing rivalry with Caitlin Clark. Those who follow the WNBA carefully know how fierce this rivalry is. It's not only about who the best player is, it's about who can be the WNBA's brightest star. Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of amazing. She's been breaking records left and right, dominating the game with her sheer natural ability. The key word here is natural. Unlike Reese, who's now suspected of taking steroids, Clark's accomplishments are pure and unchallenged. She smashed the WNBA rookie scoring record with 761 points without violating a single rule.
Last night, we saw Caitlin Clark take the last shot of her season, one that ended with an 87-81 loss to the Sun in Game 2 of the first round of the playoffs. Clark was the first one in the tunnel. Her long year of basketball over, she was chosen #1 in the WNBA draft and took a team that had won 30 combined games over the previous 4 years to its first playoff berth since 2016. Clark had a rookie record-setting year.
And now is when things become interesting. While Clark has received several honors, Reese has been outspoken about how she is the greatest, deserves all of the recognition, and how the media just favors Clark because she is white. However, with these steroid charges hovering over her head, it seems that Reese's claims and confidence were only a smokescreen to conceal her fears. The possibility that Reese was taking steroids all along changes the dynamic of her competition with Clark. It's no longer a fight between two outstanding athletes. It's a story about one player rising through pure skill and another maybe cheating her way to the top. If these charges are accurate, the whole story changes, and this is something fans and the WNBA will have to deal with.
Like, basketball has really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast, and then I came here and was trying to give everything I could to this team, and it was special. There was a lot of things that this group accomplished that, you know, a lot of people probably didn't think was possible.
The charges against Angel Reese point to a deeper issue: desperation. It's no secret that the pressure to achieve at the top levels of professional sports is immense. The attention, sponsorships, and fans, it's a lot to manage. And for someone like Reese, who has built her whole brand on being the greatest, the pressure to remain at the top must have been enormous.
Angel Reese putting on a show, outduels Caitlin Clark with 25 points, 16 rebounds in the Sky's win over the Fever. Reese scored a career high to help Chicago beat Indiana 88-97, despite 17 points and a franchise record 13 assists from Clark on Sunday. Reese is the first rookie since Aja Wilson with 25-plus points and 15-plus rebounds in a single game.
But here's the thing, when you're competing against Caitlin Clark, who does everything instinctively, the pressure may be overwhelming. Reese's alleged steroid usage seems to be a desperate effort to stay competitive, preserve her image, and remain relevant in a sport where natural skill is shining brighter than ever. It's the ugliest move you can make in sports. Use performance-enhancing substances to compensate for inherent deficiencies, and it's almost hilarious. Reese has always been the loudest in the room, claiming to be the greatest, but now it seems that all of her discourse was a cover for her fears. Instead of working harder and perfecting her skill, Reese supposedly took the easy way out, the coward's path. Steroids may give you muscles, but they don't provide you with heart, which Caitlin Clark possesses in plenty.
Oh, you know I love a good rivalry, and it continues, and the fireworks are still there, folks. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark squared off again as the Clark's Indiana Fever defeated Reese's Chicago Sky 88-83 on Sunday, making it 2-0 Clark in the pros. Reese and Clark have been linked since their much-hyped matchup in the 2023 Women's Final Four when Reese came out victorious. This one not without controversy, as Reese, attempting to block Clark's shot, also delivered a hard blow to her head. As Clark drove to the basket in the third quarter, officials upgraded the call to a flagrant 1 foul. Reese seemed to take exception to the ruling.
Angel Reese has spent years portraying herself as an unstoppable force in the WNBA. She has been open about her grandeur, confidence, and conviction that she is untouchable. However, with these steroid claims, the whole image is beginning to shatter. The player who once referred to herself as the WNBA's queen is now faced with the hard realization that her reign may have been based on falsehoods. The potential for hypocrisy is far more harmful. Reese has been one of Caitlin Clark's harshest detractors, accusing her of earning unfair accolades owing to her color. But now it seems that while Reese was busy making charges, she may have been keeping a secret of her own. It's the classic example of projection, blaming someone else for the same thing you're guilty of.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas.
Reese's character as a powerful, outstanding athlete has always been part of her brand. She didn't simply want to be considered excellent, she wanted to be recognized as the greatest. However, if these steroid charges are proven accurate, it will be evident that her achievement was not the product of hard effort or natural skill, but of cheating, and no amount of public relations or damage control can change it. So what happens next? If the charges against Angel Reese are proven accurate, it might be the end of his career. The WNBA has a rigorous zero-tolerance policy towards performance-enhancing drugs, and getting detected taking steroids is one of the most serious offenses a player can commit. Not only will Reese risk suspension or expulsion from the league, but her whole career may be stained by this incident.
Yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Reese's integrity as an athlete will be called into doubt, and this scandal will overshadow her legacy, whatever it is. Let's not forget about the potential influence on her endorsements and partnerships. Brands do not want to be associated with cheats, and after the dust settles, Reese may lose more than just her position in the WNBA. The WNBA will also have to face the problem straight on. The league has worked hard to retain its integrity and expand its fan base, and a high-profile case like this might jeopardize its image. Will the WNBA hold Angel Reese responsible, or will they brush it under the rug? Many people are asking this topic, and the answer might establish a precedent for how the league deals with similar concerns in the future.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation, and it took a combination of things, both on and off the court. Off the court, attendance, viewership. On the court, breaking the single season scoring record or the all-time scoring record in college. But now you see her in the WNBA and you can say the exact same thing. Most impactful that we've seen in women's basketball for those same two reasons. Arenas were upgraded, viewership through the roofs. But then when it comes to the basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive. She averaged 19 and 8. For some context, I won Rookie of the Year. I think I averaged 12. It is a huge feat to get those types of numbers. After Olympic break, you mentioned it, Molly. It's like finally she can wait, waiting to exhale.
Totally.
23, 9, and 8 were her averages, bringing the Fever to the playoffs. I know that there was a big three with Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell as well, but what she has been able to do has transcended not just women's basketball, but it's women's sports in this moment.
One of the most remarkable parts of this whole story is its timing. Just when Caitlin Clark is on the rise, shattering records and dominating the league, Angel Reese's name comes up in connection with steroid usage. It almost stinks of desperation, as if Reese realized she couldn't keep up with Clark's immaculate successes and took a shortcut. Then there's the irony. While Reese was accusing Clark of being favored because of her ethnicity, she might have been keeping a performance-enhancing secret of her own. It's a typical example of projection, blaming someone else for something you're guilty of. If these charges are accurate, it becomes evident that Reese's actual issue was Clark's superiority, not his race. But instead of accepting that in addition to working harder, Reese reportedly opted to cheat.
That's about it. Everything else is nothing but positive, and even that is positive because everybody ain't gonna be the female version of Steph Curry, for crying out loud. That's what Caitlin Clark is, playing two different positions. But Angel Reese deserves all the credit in the world.
Heck of a season.
Heck of a season. I think she's got a really, really bright future.
Absolutely. Wishing her a speedy recovery and coming back next season. We expect even better and stronger. So all the best to her.
We've seen it repeated in sports. One player feels threatened by a competition and turns to drugs to gain an advantage. But it never works out. The truth always comes out, and the athlete who took the easy way out is forced to face the consequences. For years, Angel Reese has worked hard to build a narrative about herself as the finest, strongest, and most dominating player in the WNBA. She has been outspoken, assertive, and unrepentant about her position at the top. However, if these steroid charges are proven accurate, The whole story collapses. Fans would doubt Reese's accomplishments and wonder whether she was really as amazing as she claimed. Every game, triumph, and highlight reel moment would be marred by the idea that it wasn't her fault. It was the steroids, and no athlete wants to leave that legacy.
Queen Angel Reese announced to social media over the weekend that her rookie season has come to an end after unfortunately suffering a wrist injury that will require surgery. The number 7 pick in the draft finished the season averaging over 13 points, 13 boards. It's the highest rebound average in the history of the W. Reese also set the rookie record with 26 double-doubles. Stephen A., now that her season is over, how would you grade her rookie campaign?
Very good, very impressive. She deserves a lot of credit for it.
In comparison, Caitlin Clark's reputation will only get stronger. She accomplished excellence without violating the rules, taking shortcuts, or cheating. While Reese's reputation suffers, Clark's fame will continue to climb. The Angel Reese steroid controversy involves the whole WNBA, not just one player. The league has worked hard to increase its fan base, recruit new viewers, and establish its image as a credible, competitive sports league. However, situations like these may seriously undermine that effort.
There was an opportunity or two for me to probably attempt another shot there quite at the end, but I trust my teammates. Obviously, 13 assists, that means my teammates scored off of 13 of my passes. Like, it's a really great number. So I'm going to give them the ball every time and give them an opportunity to score. I believe in them.
Fans want to think that what they're viewing is authentic. They want to believe that the athletes they support are attaining success via hard effort, devotion, and skill. However, when a player is detected taking steroids, everything is called into doubt. Is that extraordinary performance genuine, or was it artificially enhanced? Was the game-winning shot a product of talent or cheating? If the WNBA hopes to keep its reputation, it must handle this situation straight on. Things are not an option to sweep things under the rug. The league must demonstrate that it takes performance-enhancing drug usage seriously and is dedicated to providing a fair and equal playing field for all players. As this narrative progresses, one thing becomes clear: the consequences of Angel Reese's suspected steroid usage will be far-reaching. Whether or not these charges are proven genuine, her reputation has already suffered. The once unquestionable athlete now confronts a future fraught with suspicion, doubt, and uncertainty. If the claims are verified, Reese's WNBA career may be over. She will risk not only losing her position in the league, but also the breakdown of her sponsorships, public image, and legacy. For a player who has established her name as the greatest, this controversy might be her undoing.
I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Aside from Angel Reese, this incident serves as a reminder of the value of honesty in athletics. Steroids may provide a shortcut to success, but they are inevitably discovered. When it occurs, the effects are catastrophic. As fans, all we can do is watch this story unfold, hoping that the truth is revealed and that the WNBA takes the appropriate actions to preserve the integrity of the game we all love.
Clark has space, she's gonna let it fly, and she's gonna connect!
Caitlin Clark is unstoppable in the WNBA right now, and it appears that no matter what occurs, she rises to the occasion. Clark's recent move has dramatically altered the league landscape, leaving fans, pundits, and even her detractors stunned. The same people who formerly mocked her or questioned her talents are now faced with the inescapable truth. Caitlin Clark is unstoppable. Every move she makes and every game she plays leaves the WNBA in awe, but her most recent accomplishment elevated it to a new level. It was more than just a game-changing performance. It was a cultural event, a seismic shift that had her critics scurrying for an explanation.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
Caitlin Clark has been a superstar since her undergraduate days, captivating admirers with her tremendous range, precision playmaking, and unwavering confidence. Her supremacy on the basketball court began early, but what makes her path even more astounding is her ability to turn every doubt, struggle, and criticism into fuel for her never-ending desire to be the best. Clark's outstanding performance at the University of Iowa, where she led her team to multiple triumphs, demonstrated that she was destined for greatness. However, shifting to the WNBA brought its own set of expectations and challenges.
Red hot. They've been ice cold since that first quarter. Clark way outside. You bet!
The WNBA is populated by great athletes who have competed at the highest level for years. And for Clark, entering this environment meant demonstrating that she could not only hold her own, but also dominate. She dominated. Clark's transition to the WNBA went more smoothly than most rookies. She had an immediate impact, demonstrating that she was more than just a brilliant player. She was a game changer. However, as popularity grows, critics emerge, and Clark was no exception. Despite her apparent brilliance, Caitlin Clark has endured her fair share of criticism. Clark has come under severe criticism for a variety of reasons, including her confident demeanor on the court, her abrasive playing style, and the fact that she constantly performs at a level that others find difficult to match. Some have criticized her for being overly confident or bold, while others have questioned her capacity to continue her success over time. Clark, however, has always responded to criticism by allowing her game to speak for itself. Her ability to soar above the fray has been nothing short of astounding. While some athletes may crumble under the weight of continual media scrutiny and fan expectations, Clark appears to revel in it. Every unfavorable comment or doubt seems to inspire her to prove others wrong, which she has done throughout her WNBA career.
That's putting up some buckets.
It sure was. Top 4 scorers at the college level here in this one.
Clark just did something that hushed her detractors while also sending shockwaves around the league. Clark set many records in a single game, delivering a masterpiece that left even her opponents in awe. It wasn't just the number of points she scored or how she dominated on both ends of the court. It was how she did it, with poise, confidence, and precision, that drew everyone's attention. Clark not only performed admirably in this game, but she also redefined what it meant to be a WNBA superstar. Her ability to dictate the pace of the game, make impossible shots appear easy, and involve her teammates at the right times exhibited a level of basketball intelligence that many had never seen before. Caitlin Clark was clearly playing to make a statement, not just to win.
Foul knows it's important not to pick up the second because she got 2 in the first quarter against Connecticut. Clark on a 3.
She made a statement. By the end of the game, Clark had broken multiple records, including the most points scored in a single game by a WNBA player. Fans were ecstatic, social media exploded, and sports analysts couldn't stop talking about her performance. While many people were celebrating Clark's historic night, there was one group that wasn't so happy: her critics.
Where all the people that Stephen A? Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Let her.
Caitlin Clark's critics, or bullies, reacted quickly. However, rather than recognizing Clark's greatness, many of them doubled down on their critiques, accusing her of being overly flashy or condescending to her opponents. They said that her record-breaking performance was motivated by ego rather than skill. Some even argued that Clark's dominance was detrimental to the league, making the WNBA less competitive.
Diggins, Fake Smith, her last name, she bumped into her, sped up. Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told...
These comments, of course, were unfounded. Clark's achievement was about more than just individual triumph. It was about pushing the limits of what is possible in sport. However, for some, watching a young, confident athlete like Clark succeed was too much to bear. Her success, in their eyes, represented a threat to the established system, and rather than celebrating her accomplishments, they chose to undermine her. Clark, as always, remained unmoved. She did not respond to the abuse or engage with her critics. Instead, she allowed her game to speak for itself. In doing so, she once again demonstrated why she is one of the league's most entertaining and brilliant players. Caitlin Clark's climb to popularity is more than simply a personal triumph. It can transform the WNBA as a whole. For years, the league has struggled with visibility and respect, frequently being overshadowed by its male counterpart, the National Basketball Association. However, with players like Clark creating headlines and attracting new fans, the WNBA is beginning to receive the recognition it deserves.
And stop other teams from scoring.
Well, last year Indiana was 10th in pace. Christy Sides telling us Clark rattles her second three.
Clark's triumph has energized the league. Fans eagerly await her next move, and her performances frequently make national headlines. In some ways, Clark is helping to break the mold of what fans anticipate from the WNBA. She demonstrates that women's basketball can be as thrilling, competitive, and entertaining as men's basketball, and sometimes even more so. But Clark's impact extends beyond the games. She has also established herself as a role model for young athletes, particularly young females who aspire to play professional basketball. Clark is pushing the next generation of players to chase their aspirations and push the limits of what is possible in the sport by demonstrating that it is possible to excel in the WNBA while doing so stylishly. Clark's influence extends beyond the court. Off the court, her influence is just as strong. Clark has become a cultural icon, heralding a new age in women's basketball that values confidence, talent, and personality. Clark's unabashed attitude has struck a chord with both fans and sportsmen in a sport where players are frequently supposed to be meek and reserved.
League in assists her last 5 games, Shannon. 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11.4 assists per game.
Her social media following has skyrocketed, with millions of people tuning in to see her most recent postings, interviews, and highlights. She's more than simply a basketball player. She's a brand, and her appeal goes far beyond the sport. Major brands are lined up to collaborate with her, recognizing that Clark symbolizes the future of women's sports, and that her influence will only expand in the coming years. Clark's most major cultural impact, however, has been her ability to change the narrative about women's basketball. For far too long, the WNBA has been ridiculed or overlooked, with many sports fans viewing it as a subpar imitation of the NBA. However, Clark's performances, together with the ascent of other brilliant players, are helping to shift that narrative. Caitlin Clark is leading the effort as more people realize the WNBA is full of great athletes capable of playing at an extremely high level.
That's 5, and now the Indiana Fever are 7th place overall and in playoff positioning. Caitlin Clark is real. She's coming, and I still...
With each passing game, it becomes increasingly evident that Caitlin Clark is only getting started. At only 23 years old, she has already accomplished more than many players do in their whole careers, and there is no telling how much more she will achieve in the coming years. Her mix of skill, confidence, and work ethic has put her on the path to greatness, and if no big setbacks occur, she might go down as one of the greatest WNBA players of all time.
At the 3, Boston the rebound, getting her first minutes. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, what a dime from Clark!
Beyond individual achievements, Clark can revolutionize the game itself. Clark is contributing to the WNBA's growth by pushing the boundaries of what is possible on the court and motivating a new generation of players. The league is already seeing a surge in viewership and fan engagement, thanks in large part to players like Clark, who are making the game more thrilling and accessible to a larger audience. As she continues to break records and defy expectations, one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA is only beginning. Caitlin Clark's rise from collegiate basketball standout to WNBA superstar has been nothing short of remarkable. She's had her fair share of critics and doubters along the way, but she's always been able to rise above the fray and let her talent shine through. Her latest record-breaking achievement reflected years of hard work, devotion, and an unwillingness to let others define her success.
I'm not quite sure who is benefiting. I guess you have to say the Wings right now because they're up.
Clark turned the corner.
But then again, here comes...
While her bullies may continue to celebrate her success, there's no doubt that Caitlin Clark is here to stay. Her impact on the WNBA, both on and off the court, is evident, and the league benefits from her continued ability to set records and redefine what it means to be a superstar. Caitlin Clark has revolutionized the game, and she is only just getting started.
Imagine an incredible event that shocks the very basis of women's basketball. It's a moment that has the whole WNBA on edge. Now imagine this. Caitlin Clark, the rising star who has taken the basketball world by storm, is in the thick of it all. She's recognized for her amazing shooting range, bold leadership on the floor, and unrivaled basketball IQ. But what if I told you that something really startling occurred, and the Indiana Fever delivered a bombshell that sent shockwaves across the WNBA?
Select
Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark, a player comparable to Stephen Curry for her deep-range shooting and playmaking talents, recently went through an unexpected event. The Indiana Fever, a club renowned for its rebuilding efforts, has made a surprising move involving Clark, which is upending the WNBA world. What precisely is the bombshell? What impact did it have on Caitlin Clark's career, as well as the whole league? Let's plunge in and discover this surprising discovery.
The podium, she is officially a member of the Indiana Fever after has decorated a collegiate career
Before we get to the shocking news, let's examine how Caitlin Clark rose to become one of basketball's best-known players.
You come in and drop 35 points. What was different for you today?
Once you see the ball go through the basket a little bit, like I still had a few in and outs, I'm like, man, how's it not going?
Caitlin Clark's rise to basketball superstardom began long before she was in the WNBA limelight. Clark, who was born and reared in West Des Moines, Iowa, rapidly established herself as one of the country's leading high school basketball scorers. Her skill was evident from an early age, and her competitive nature motivated her to push the limits on the court.
Here's Clark with it. Bentley inside against the taller Mercedes Russell, and still
Clark's choice to play collegiate basketball with the Iowa Hawkeyes would permanently alter her professional direction. She made an instant impression on the college basketball scene. Caitlin Clark immediately rose to prominence in the world of women's basketball after leading the country in scoring, assists, and three-pointers while at Iowa. Her long-range shooting, ball-handling abilities, and court vision drew comparisons to NBA luminaries such as Stephen Curry.
Second, because she got 2 in the first quarter against Connecticut.
However, Caitlin Clark's focus was on more than just individual statistics. She has an unparalleled desire to win and improve her team. Throughout her undergraduate career, she guided Iowa to multiple wins and received various awards, including All-American and Player of the Year nods. By the time she declared for the WNBA draft, she was widely regarded as one of the most promising prospects in recent memory.
Bentley. Here's Clark, a good look from 3. She got it! The first 3!
On the other side of the equation is the Indiana Fever, who has been working hard to rebuild its squad and return to postseason contention. The Indiana Fever has a rich history, but in recent years, the club has battled to regain its foothold. Following their WNBA title in 2012, the Fever had many seasons of transition, including roster changes, coaching changes, and a lack of consistent success on the floor. The squad fell to the bottom of the rankings, leaving fans and observers wondering how long it would take to turn things around. In recent seasons, however, the Fever have prioritized rebuilding via the draft and player development. With youthful talent and fresh leadership, the franchise has been attempting to lay the groundwork for future success. However, rebuilding in professional sports takes time, and the Fever realized they needed to make a bold move to speed their recovery.
Defensive Player of the Year, former MVP leading the way for her team. Katie Douglas, remember, out with the sprained ankle, but Minnesota, they are...
Let's get to the core of the matter, the bombshell that shook the WNBA and the Indiana Fever's jaw-dropping action concerning Caitlin Clark. Following the completion of the WNBA draft, rumors circulated across the league about clubs making aggressive trade proposals and franchise-altering decisions. But no one anticipated the Indiana Fever to make one of the most significant transactions of the offseason, one involving Caitlin Clark.
Gave us a taste of where we wanted to be, and that's exactly the message that Chrissy iterated throughout the locker room, and that our coaches kind of iterated when they talked.
In an unexpected turn of events, the Indiana Fever made a trade proposal that astonished the league. The Fever, desperate to expedite their rebuilding process, allegedly offered a massive sum to obtain Caitlin Clark's WNBA draft rights. While Clark had yet to formally declare for the draft, her impending arrival in the league had every club scurrying to make their case.
The WNBA draft is this Monday, and Iowa star Caitlin Clark is expected to be the #1 pick. Here to comment is Caitlin Clark.
According to reports, the Fever's trade offer included numerous high-profile players, future draft selections, and even a large sum of money. The Fever's management staff anticipated that acquiring a generational talent such as Caitlin Clark would quickly convert their team into a playoff contender. Clark's ability to score from wherever on the floor, along with her leadership, might be the missing element the Fever needs to alter the course of their franchise.
Last night, what was going through your mind?
Honestly, I think it's super special, and sitting at the table, kind of obviously knowing where I'm going, you still get a little bit anxious when the commissioner walks out. And
the audacity of the offer caught the whole WNBA off guard. Teams throughout the league were taken aback, and fans couldn't believe such a large transaction was in the works. As a word of Indiana Fever's shocking action circulated, the WNBA world was stunned. Players, coaches, and commentators all discussed the possible consequences of this game-changing decision.
This year, the stakes are high yet again, with the Fever drafting Caitlin Clark as their first.
For other clubs, the prospect of the Fever obtaining Caitlin Clark was daunting. Clark's unique skill set made her a player capable of changing the WNBA's power dynamic on her own. Teams who had previously dominated anticipated that a rising Indiana Fever side coached by Clark would pose a substantial challenge to their position at the top. Several WNBA players resorted to social media to express their feelings. Some were excited about Caitlin Clark entering the league and boosting the competition. Others voiced alarm over the Fever's daring decision, questioning whether it would result in a new WNBA super team.
Grateful and lucky to have my family here, my friends over there, coaches up here, so I think just enjoying the moment. Like you said, I've dreamed of this moment since I was in second.
Fans too were split. Fever fans were ecstatic at the prospect of Clark joining their squad, thinking it would finally put a stop to the years of hardship. Meanwhile, supporters from other clubs were less excited, concerned that their teams might miss out on the opportunity to pick or trade for Clark. But what did Caitlin Clark say about all of this? After all, she was the driving force behind this seismic transformation in the WNBA.
I think the biggest thing is I always just believed in myself. I went to Iowa with the goal of taking us to the Final Four. We did it twice. We went to 2 national championships.
Caitlin Clark stayed unexpectedly quiet as rumors spread and the media frenzy increased. The generally loud and confident athlete seemed to be taking her time processing the situation. Some assumed that Clark was contemplating her choices and deciding if the Indiana Fever was the best match for her career. Others questioned whether she had been taken off guard by the Fever's daring move. Clark kept her remarks to the press minimal, stating just, "I'm focused on improving my game and preparing for the next stage of my basketball journey. The rest will take care of itself." While her reaction did not reveal much, it simply contributed to the rumors about her prospective transfer to the WNBA and the Indiana Fever.
It instilled confidence in me from a young age when I was a young girl, and I think that's something a lot of young girls can learn to have, and I think people...
Indiana Fever's decision to pursue Caitlin Clark was not a whim. It was a planned decision that was consistent with the team's long-term success strategy. For years, the Fever had been looking for a franchise player, someone who could lead the club on the court while elevating the whole organization. They recognized Caitlin Clark as a player who might become the franchise's face in the coming years. Her star power, mixed with her evident skill, made her the perfect choice to restore the Fever to prominence.
It just kind of speaks to the physicality of the league. It's just, she kind of got me in the right spot.
You smiled when you told that story. Good, clean basketball play.
Furthermore, the Fever's front staff understood that the window for rebuilding in professional sports might be limited. While their squad had some youthful potential, they recognized they needed a key player to help them improve. By making a big move for Caitlin Clark, the Fever demonstrated to the league that they were serious about being a contender again. If the Indiana Fever's plan to acquire Caitlin Clark goes through, the WNBA landscape might shift overnight. Clark's presence on the Fever would not only increase their chances of reaching the playoffs, but it would also have an impact on the rest of the league. Teams who had traditionally ruled the WNBA would confront new levels of competition, as the Fever would pose a danger to their title chances.
Bit more condensed. Quick turnover for rookies like Clark, and she weaves her way inside, caught it in the foul.
Furthermore, Clark's entrance into the WNBA may herald a new age of competitiveness and excitement for the league, with growing players like Sabrina Ionescu, Aja Wilson, and now maybe Caitlin Clark. The WNBA would have a lot of talent to bring even more fans and attention to the sport. It remains to be seen if Caitlin Clark will eventually sign with the Indiana Fever. The shocking revelation has undoubtedly set the scene for an entertaining offseason in the WNBA, with fans anxiously anticipating the next chapter in this growing story.
Thinking about a bomb, the hesitation, the take, the lead. Reese the lay, Clark to Reese.
Clark's choice might be career-defining. Does she regard the Fever as the best squad to help her realize her greatest potential? Or will another club come in with an offer she can't turn down? Only time will tell. The Indiana Fever's shocking action against Caitlin Clark has surely rocked the WNBA to its core. As the league gears up for the upcoming season, all eyes will be on Clark and the Fever to see what happens next. One thing is certain, the WNBA's future has just become.
It's my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously, I mean that, and I thank you, and this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports.
Stay tuned for more information on this developing story. The WNBA is evolving before our eyes, and Caitlin Clark is at the center of it all. You won't believe it, Caitlin Clark, the greatest star in women's basketball, is sitting at home while the WNBA playoffs proceed without her. Was this an error that might undermine the WNBA's credibility? Fans are upset, players are speaking out, and the league is experiencing a crisis like never before. Here's why the WNBA may be regretting the choice that kept its star on the bench, and why this might be the league's worst misstep ever.
Caitlin, what value do you feel like you and this team got out of the playoff experience, and what did it to you reveal that you guys need in the future?
The 2024 WNBA season was one of the most eagerly anticipated in recent memory, thanks in large part to Iowa star Caitlin Clark's debut season. After an outstanding collegiate season, Clark had fans riveted to the screen, anticipating her to lead her team far into the WNBA playoffs. Instead, the WNBA playoffs continue without her, and fans are enraged.
Big time shot.
Doesn't get better than that, Cap.
Becomes the first rookie with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a playoff.
Caitlin Clark's early departure from the playoffs triggered a flood of responses on social media and sports channels. Many think the WNBA needed to properly capitalize on her star power, raising concerns about the league's decision-making and marketing strategies. Did the WNBA make a huge error by not assuring one of its best performers could shine on the largest stage?
I feel like I had a solid year, but for me, the fun part is, like, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm one that's nitpicking every single thing.
Caitlin Clark's playoff departure was more than just a surprise for fans. It dealt a significant blow to the WNBA. Clark was anticipated to be the league's face, attracting new fans and instilling enthusiasm for women's basketball. Instead of gaining traction with Clark's high-energy performances, the WNBA is facing a barrage of criticism for how this season occurred.
Locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome. I think it gave us a take.
Caitlin Clark's jaw-dropping three-pointers and passionate rivalries provided the WNBA with the much-needed excitement to raise its prominence. With her at home, the league missed out on several marketing chances. Big stars like Clark boost viewership, item sales, and general fan involvement. Her absence during the playoffs seemed like a squandered opportunity to take the WNBA to new heights.
Back, one of the best three-point shooters in the league.
And under 20 seconds left, last chance for the Fever. Clark can't get it to go, and Clark and the Fever see.
The WNBA has traditionally had lower viewership than other major leagues. Caitlin Clark's presence on the court represented a ray of optimism, as her spectacular performances continually drew greater crowds. Without her in the playoffs, TV ratings have struggled to maintain the same level of excitement, leaving viewers dissatisfied with watching unfamiliar teams and individuals. While the WNBA continues to showcase its exceptional players, others claim that the league's failure to promote its stars adequately contributes to the issue. Caitlin Clark has the potential to become a crossover superstar, akin to what LeBron James and Stephen Curry have accomplished for the NBA, but the league needed to prepare for the kind of enthusiasm she brought, and now their lack of forethought might cost them dearly.
Year for Caitlin Clark in her rookie season, and she set records along the way. First, the rookie marks: most points, assists, first rookie.
Following Clark's departure, many supporters believed that she received little media attention or league promotion. While the WNBA featured Clark throughout the season, many believed the league needed to capitalize on her star power and marketing initiatives properly. Critics claimed that the WNBA should have capitalized on Caitlin Clark's popularity sooner, generating discussion about her playoff run long before it ended. One big challenge with the WNBA's marketing is the inability to generate captivating tales about its players. Caitlin Clark isn't simply only an athlete, she's a storyteller. Her feisty nature, her bouts with elite opponents, and her underdog trek in Iowa might all have been part of a larger story to fascinate viewers. Instead, it seems like the league is wasting an opportunity to convey these tales and attract people further into the sport.
Intrigue. Caitlin played in 21 games this season that had at least 1 million viewers, adding to a level of excitement the league has continued to.
The fans should have noticed the error. Social media was inundated with comments and conversations regarding Caitlin Clark's omission from the playoffs, which seemed disappointing. Many people have expressed their dissatisfaction, with some even labeling the WNBA a clown show for how they handled the season. Twitter, Instagram, and even Reddit erupted with commentary. Fans were quick to point out that the league had the option to make Caitlin Clark the center of attention throughout the playoffs, but instead, she is sitting at home. Some fans have gone so far as to suggest they are tuning out of the playoffs because the games lack the thrill that Clark provided.
For years to come, because she has been the most impactful player that the W has seen in a generation. What she's doing both on and off.
The word clown show began to spread about the WNBA across several channels. Fans were disappointed that the league did not make a greater effort to promote Clark's possible postseason influence, with many arguing that this was proof that the WNBA does not know how to manage its most valuable players. Fans believe the WNBA is failing to capitalize on star power, and Caitlin Clark's absence just adds to the frustration. The WNBA is concerned with more than simply fan responses. There is a significant financial component at work. Caitlin Clark's participation in the playoffs may have increased ticket sales, retail purchases, and potentially ad income for the league. Instead, the WNBA confronts a possible cash shortage as its best player sits out.
We had arenas that were upgraded, arenas that fit maybe 8,000, selling out at 18,000 because Caitlin Clark was in town. Merchandise sold out as well.
With Clark out of the playoffs, several venues report decreasing attendance. Fans who were excited to see her perform live have lost interest, and ticket sales in major cities have declined. Caitlin Clark brought obvious enthusiasm to the court, and her absence has resulted in a more subdued playoff environment, both in person and on television.
I felt like we could have done a little bit more to help it get back here for a game 3, and that's what really kind of stunk about the whole thing.
The WNBA may have suffered a setback in terms of merchandise. Caitlin Clark's rookie season jerseys and clothing flew off the shelves earlier this year, but now that she's no longer in the postseason picture, retail sales have slowed. Fans are less inclined to purchase merchandise when their favorite athlete is not in the limelight. A key source of contention in this topic is whether the WNBA's playoff system is to blame for Caitlin Clark's early departure. Some feel that the existing system needs to recognize elite potential, resulting in circumstances where talents like Clark are dismissed prematurely.
Well, what Caitlin has done has moved the needle forward, not just for herself, but the entire WNBA, and that absolutely is respected.
The current WNBA playoff structure has been criticized for being overly restrictive, causing elite players to lose out on deeper runs. Fans want to watch the finest players compete on the grandest platform, yet the structure often results in early departures for some of the league's top players, like Caitlin Clark. A more flexible or star-driven system may have kept guys like Clark in the limelight longer. Other professional sports leagues, such as the NBA, are designed to highlight stars throughout the playoffs. Fans of the WNBA are making parallels and wondering why the league isn't doing the same. While the league may claim that its system promotes justice, it is apparent that fans want to watch the best players compete on the greatest platform for as long as possible.
Header between the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun. What a game. Fever looking to stave off elimination on the road. And this is late in the fourth, 4:06.
Caitlin Clark's disappearance has elicited reactions beyond those of her followers. Players and coaches from throughout the WNBA have also shared their opinions on the matter, with some implying that the league squandered a significant opportunity. Several WNBA players have expressed their disappointment over Clark's absence from the playoffs, either quietly or explicitly. Some have noted that Caitlin Clark is the kind of player who elevates the game and draws attention to the league, and her playoff departure is a significant loss for the sport.
Fatigue set in, because I know Rebecca talked about it. Caitlin Clark looked exhausted in the fourth quarter. We talked about it here. Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, I think Clark played every minute of the game.
Coaches have also expressed their thoughts on the implications of Caitlin Clark's absence for the remainder of the season. Many think that although team success should always be prioritized, individual star power is critical to the league's growth. Some argue that if the WNBA wants to keep fans interested all year, it should reconsider its structure and marketing techniques. So what comes next for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. This incident might serve as a learning opportunity for the league. The WNBA must figure out how to keep its stars front and center so that future seasons do not conclude with its most marketable players sitting at home.
She did everything that she could. The rookie had a phenomenal playoff, a phenomenal rookie season.
Yeah, those two played 40 minutes.
While Clark's debut season did not finish as many had planned, her future in the WNBA remains bright. As her game improves, she will undoubtedly return stronger and more motivated than ever to make a difference in the playoffs. The WNBA should use this as a wake-up call. Fans want to see great players in the playoffs, and if the league fails to adjust, it risks losing the attention it has fought so hard to get. Whether it's revamping the playoff system or spending more on player marketing, the WNBA has some significant choices in the coming years.
So that's what excites me the most. I feel like I can continue to get a lot better, and before we know it, I'm sure we'll all be back here and ready for the next year.
In the end, Caitlin Clark's absence from the playoffs has created a big hole. The WNBA had the potential to engage a broader audience and build its fandom, but instead, fans are left wondering whether the way the league handled this season was a mistake.
At the same time, that's what stinks about the season ending is I felt like we were really starting to find our groove and really play good basketball, and it feels like that's always kind of how your season.
The consequences of this decision might be long-lasting, not only for Caitlin Clark, but for the WNBA as a whole. As fans continue to express their dissatisfaction, only time will tell whether the WNBA will make the necessary reforms to prevent another clown show in future seasons. Consider this. Caitlin Clark, one of the most well-known names in women's basketball, is facing a major danger to her career. You definitely didn't see it coming, but what if one announcement could alter the course of history? This is precisely what occurred when Lynn Dunn, a veteran of women's basketball and the current general manager of the Indiana Fever, made a surprising comment that shook the basketball world and jeopardized Caitlin Clark's career.
Like we talked about in our locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome.
In this screenplay, we'll examine Dunn's shocking declaration and its potential impact on one of basketball's brightest stars. We'll also examine why this news is so important, how Caitlin Clark got to where she is now, and what the future holds for her career.
Maybe 15.
Why that long?
I don't know. They make me pause. You know, the league. You got to follow the directions.
When you see the fan engagement out there.
To comprehend the seriousness of the problem, you must first know who Lynn Dunn is. Dunn is a highly recognized and important person in women's basketball. With a coaching career spanning 4 decades, Dunn has established himself as a pathfinder. She coached both collegiate and WNBA teams, most notably coaching the Indiana Fever to their first WNBA title in 2012.
For a little while. She's just changed the landscape of women's basketball. I mean, what she's done and the
Since retiring from coaching, Dunn has worked in the front office of the Indiana Fever, where her expertise and basketball knowledge continue to influence the league. She's a real pioneer, but no one expected Dunn, who has always advocated for new talent in the sport, to be behind a statement that might jeopardize Caitlin Clark's future.
She's coming to Indianapolis. She's going to be an integral part of the Indiana Fever, and I can't wait to see Boston and Mitchell and Clark.
Before we get into the news, it's important to understand who Caitlin Clark is and why her career is jeopardized. Caitlin Clark is more than simply a basketball player. She's a sensation. She has been smashing records since high school, attracting interest from elite institutions, and dominating the game with her amazing scoring skills. Clark rose to prominence while playing with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She soon rose to prominence as one of college basketball's top players thanks to her exceptional three-point shooting, court vision, and competitive attitude. Many pundits even named her a potential WNBA superstar, a generational talent capable of transcending the sport in the same way that Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi had.
Or just close more quickly.
Clark zips it in. In fact, Denley finishes. What a dart.
Clark's on-court accomplishments are noteworthy. She was selected as a unanimous All-American and led the country in scoring on many occasions. The excitement around her WNBA potential was at an all-time high, and fans anxiously anticipated her professional debut.
Rebish hounding Clark. Clark, step back three.
Now, let's discuss the surprise announcement. Lynn Dunn commented during a recent news conference that shook the basketball world. According to Dunn, the WNBA is experiencing significant structural and financial issues, and the league may be forced to reevaluate its operations in the coming years. Here's the kicker. Dunn said that the WNBA may have to temporarily stop or severely reduce its draft classes beginning in the 2025 season. This date is critical since Caitlin Clark is scheduled to declare for the WNBA draft at this time. If the draft class is increased or postponed, Clark's professional career chances may be better.
Man, how's it not going in? But I felt like I played a good game. My shot felt well. I thought we could have moved the ball a little bit better, but overall, I thought we played well. Our defense could have been a little bit better, especially.
But why would the WNBA do that? Dunn highlighted economic difficulties such as poor attendance, TV ratings, and the league's restricted income sources. Despite the rising popularity of women's basketball, the WNBA has suffered financially in contrast to the NBA. Dunn also cited rising compensation demands from both players and coaches, which have placed a further burden on the league's finances. Dunn's revelation implies that Caitlin Clark and many other excellent players like her may have to wait longer to reach the WNBA, if at all.
Being here is up there. Obviously, you walk around and you see so many tremendous players with their pictures, up on the wall, and to, be recognized.
The greatest immediate worry for Caitlin Clark and her admirers is how this declaration would affect her professional career. Clark has always had her sights set on the WNBA, and many expected her to declare for the draft as soon as she was eligible. The WNBA is the pinnacle of women's basketball, with the top players in the world showcasing their abilities.
Time is 6:50. Caitlin Clark is adding another award to her collection. Clark won the 93rd AAU James.
If the WNBA draft is decreased or postponed, Clark may find herself trapped in college for longer than intended, or worse, facing restricted chances to play professionally in the United States. While there are broad leagues that pay well and provide competitive play, the WNBA is a dream for many American players, including Clark. A setback on her journey to the league might reduce her visibility, decrease her marketability, and postpone her earning potential. Furthermore, basketball players have limited time to compete at their peak. A delayed debut in the WNBA might impact Clark's long-term reputation, particularly if she loses out on vital growth years against the world's greatest players. It also raises concerns about how she might prepare for an uncertain future.
Because we wanted to make your dream come true. You've made so many dreams come true. State Farm knew it had been some time since you'd seen my and like.
What options does Caitlin Clark have if the WNBA decides to downsize its draft class or postpone future drafts? Clark might choose to play in major leagues such as Spain, Turkey, and Russia. These leagues provide competitive basketball, and players often earn more than they do in the WNBA. However, playing overseas has its own set of problems, such as language hurdles, cultural differences, and separation from family and friends.
I am more.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Another option Clark may consider is boosting her presence off the court. With her personality and great basketball IQ, she might use her brand to get sponsorship agreements or perhaps start a career in sports broadcasting. Given the internet age's rising platform for female athletes, Clark may capitalize on her present status. Given the NCAA's eligibility standards, Clark may potentially stay in college and continue to dominate the collegiate scene. However, this approach has a drawback. While it would enable her to continue playing and improving her skills, she would not be rewarded as she would in the WNBA or international leagues. Despite the development of NIL, name, image, likeness, partnerships, which enable collegiate players to earn from sponsorships, their pay is different from that of a professional athlete.
You see her family there. One of her brothers is away from school for this.
I think this is a good excuse to miss school.
Lynn Dunn's declaration prompted a whirlwind of responses, notably among Caitlin Clark's fans. Many fans are upset, accusing the WNBA of not supporting its future stars. Basketball fans have flooded social media networks with postings, fearing that the league's decision. Some argue that Dunn's comment is a vital wake-up call. They claim that the WNBA has been too liberal in dealing with its financial issues, and that tough choices must be made if the league is to continue. These supporters believe that although it is bad for players like Caitlin Clark Clark, it is more crucial to safeguard the WNBA's survival for future generations. So what does the future hold for the WNBA? While Lynn Dunn's declaration is troubling, it's vital to remember that the league will not dissolve suddenly. The WNBA has made great progress in recent years thanks to increasing media coverage and social media involvement. However, the league needs a more sustainable funding strategy to guarantee long-term success.
God, thanks for being here. Hey, this is special. Oh my God.
How does it feel to have...
I still feel like I was this tall and freaking out and I ran across the...
This circumstance has revived discussions about how the WNBA might expand its fan base and increase income. Suggestions include expanding ties with prominent businesses to gain larger sponsorship arrangements, increasing the league's media footprint with improved broadcast contracts and streaming alternatives, building better youth programs to cultivate a more devoted fan base from a young age. The WNBA has a lot of promise, and with careful financial planning and creativity, it can transform its present issues into chances for development.
My coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously I mean that, and I thank you, and this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general.
How has Caitlin Clark handled all of this? While Clark has not issued an official remark about Lynn Dunn's announcement, there is little doubt that she is carefully following the situation. Clark, known for her ferocious competition and perseverance, is most certainly carefully considering her alternatives. Insiders say Clark remains positive, concentrating on her current college season while considering backup plans in case the WNBA draft scenario does not improve. She has already indicated an interest in playing abroad if necessary, but her ultimate objective is to make an impact in the WNBA.
I actually grew up playing with the boys. That's all I knew until I was in about 4th grade. So I give that a lot of credit for the person I am today, but also the player kind of pushed.
We must consider the larger implications of this news for women's basketball. Caitlin Clark is just one of many excellent athletes who this decision may impact. This scenario raises serious concerns about the sport's future and whether enough support is being provided for women's professional basketball. The success of athletes like Clark is critical to the continuing development of women's basketball. If great athletes are discouraged from playing in the WNBA due to financial difficulties or limited possibilities, the sport may suffer for years. This might impact the league's capacity to recruit future stars, limiting its marketability and profitability.
My parents are here tonight over here. My dad was actually my first ever AAU basketball coach, so this is kind of a full circle moment, and I grew up playing a lot of it.
Finally, Lynn Dunn's startling remark has surely caused Caitlin Clark and the whole basketball community face a storm of uncertainty. While the future remains uncertain, one thing is certain. This event marks a watershed moment for the WNBA and women's basketball in general.
Biting my tongue, following the rules, but you know, for some time now we've had her penciled in as our #1 pick, but we didn't want to let the cat out of the box.
The following steps will be critical for Caitlin Clark. Whether she continues to dominate in college, takes her skills abroad, or waits for the WNBA's situation to stabilize, her perseverance and basketball IQ will undoubtedly put her in the running as one of the sport's top young prospects. Let's hope that whatever happens next isn't the end of Caitlin Clark's career, but rather the start of something even more intriguing. Hold on to your seats, folks, because this shocking announcement from none other than Lynn Dunn may have just put an end to Caitlin Clark's incredible career. Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark, the face of women's college basketball and the phenomenon who has taken the globe by storm, may be facing her most difficult test yet. And it is not due to competitiveness on the court. Lynn Dunn's recent revelation has sent shockwaves through the sports world, and it has the potential to alter everything.
My coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously I mean that, and I thank you, and this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general.
First, who is Lynn Dunn and why is her voice so influential in the world of basketball? For those who don't know, Lynn Dunn is a legend in women's basketball. With almost 4 decades of expertise as a coach, mentor, and pioneer, she helped shape the game we know today. Dunn, a Hall of Famer, has coached outstanding players, leading teams to national titles and WNBA triumphs. So when she speaks, people listen.
When you see the fan engagement out there, just the first 2 rows filled, just everything out there,
it's amazing. It's amazing. I cannot believe that many people are here just for the draft part.
Now let us speak about Caitlin Clark. If you're a basketball lover, you've already heard her name. She's one of the NCAA's most exciting players, mesmerizing spectators with her ability to shoot from well beyond the arc Clark and make highlight reel passes. Clark has been nothing short of brilliant at the University of Iowa, smashing records left and right and racking up numbers to match some of the finest to ever play. She's become a household celebrity, a potential WNBA star, and a role model for young athletes worldwide.
Here's Clark, nice find, Agumake push shot, banks in.
Caitlin Clark's rise from high school basketball wonder to NCAA standout is nothing short of remarkable. Fans, coaches, and players all admire her shooting range, playmaking abilities, and on-court leadership. In her first year at Iowa, she lit up the basketball world, scoring more than 26 points per game, and immediately established herself as one of college basketball's top prospects.
Mitchell spinning, finding Clark, 5 to shoot, Clark lays it in!
But it's not just her numbers that set her apart, it's the manner she plays. Clark exudes confidence and flair, which is unusual for someone her age. Whether it's hitting jumpers from the logo, threading the needle on a fast break, or demanding the ball in crunch time, she's shown her ability to handle the pressure of being the go-to player. While her skill speaks for itself, her off-court character has also contributed to her success. Clark is modest, hard-working, and committed to elevating not just her own game, but also the stature of women's basketball. In interviews, she has expressed appreciation for the opportunity she has had and her desire to advance the sport for future generations. Her mix of exceptional skill and down-to-earth demeanor has helped her become one of sport's most popular characters.
The final say. First lead for the Liberty that didn't last long as Smith puts the Fever back on top. The Indiana Fever.
Lynn Dunn recently made a remark that left fans, players, and sports commentators in complete astonishment. It was the kind of news that might permanently alter the course of Caitlin Clark's career. Rumors had been circulating for weeks, but no one was ready for what was about to be revealed. Lynn Dunn stood calmly yet resolutely in front of the assembled reporters. She's used to making tough judgments. After all, she's a coach who's seen everything. Dunn has earned a reputation for being determined and focused on what is best for the game, from winning championships to navigating college sports politics.
First pick, Caitlin Clark.
Lynn, you've been able to think about this for weeks here.
Weeks and weeks and weeks.
What do you think about the impact she'll be able to have?
She's already...
The whole basketball world hung its breath. What exactly was Dunn alluding to? How would it affect Caitlin Clark, the brightest star in the NCAA galaxy? So what exactly did Lynn Dunn say to get everyone talking? To fully comprehend the significance of her comment, let us go further into the situation. Over the last several months, there has been increasing anxiety about the changing environment of women's basketball. With NIL, name, image, and likeness, partnerships becoming prevalent in college athletics. Elite performers like Caitlin Clark have more chances than ever before, but immense authority entails great responsibility and strain. The emergence of NIL agreements transformed college athletics. For years, collegiate athletes were barred from making money from their name, image, and likeness, despite generating millions of dollars for colleges and the NCAA. With NIL standards in place, athletes like Caitlin Clark may sign endorsement agreements, appear in commercials, and build their personal brands without jeopardizing their college eligibility. This has created hitherto unprecedented opportunities for elite female athletes. Earning money while still in school is a game changer.
My parents are here tonight over here. My dad was actually my first ever AAU basketball coach, so this is kind of a full circle moment, and I grew up playing a lot of it.
However, this unexpected infusion of funds has created a new problem. Players must now balance the duties of being a full-time student athlete with the responsibilities of managing their brand and finances. The stakes have never been greater. Lynn Dunn's declaration might be linked to rising worries about how NIL agreements are altering the balance of power in collegiate athletics. The greater exposure and financial advantages are fantastic, but they come with more scrutiny, expectations, and possible diversions. Could the strain be getting to Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark is facing a pivotal time. She has already established herself as one of the top players in the nation, but what does her future hold? Could Lynn Dunn's startling revelation lead Clark to quit college early? Could it push her to join the WNBA or explore other opportunities such as European leagues or even more lucrative NIL contracts?
I actually grew up playing with the boys. That's all I knew until I was in about 4th grade, so I give that a lot of credit for the person I am today, but also the player kind of pushed.
Let's break it down. On the one hand, continuing in college allows Clark to continue creating her legacy. She has the potential to smash more records, lead Iowa to another NCAA championship, and cement her position in basketball history. She's already generating a lot of money from NIL agreements. College athletes may now earn as much as or more than professional players, particularly if they become household names like Caitlin Clark. This is particularly true in women's basketball, as WNBA earnings remain relatively modest compared to other sports. On the other side, the WNBA is calling. For a player of Caitlin's caliber, the question is not if she will go pro, but when. The WNBA has its own set of obstacles and benefits, including the ability to compete against the best in the world, win a WNBA title, and expand her brand on a worldwide scale. But leaving college early means abandoning unfinished business at Iowa. Lynn Dunn's declaration has just exacerbated what is already a difficult issue.
The goofy, funny, smart kid off the court. I have a tremendous amount of respect with what she's been able to do.
After the announcement, the internet went crazy. Fans from all over started to speculate, what might this imply for Caitlin? Would she remain at Iowa and finish her undergraduate career? Or would she seek better possibilities elsewhere? Passionate fan bases have always fueled the world of sports, and Caitlin Clark's supporters are no different. As soon as Lynn Dunn's news became viral on social media, speculations and views started flooding in. Some supporters believe Clark will stay faithful to Iowa, completing what she began and bringing the squad to national success. Others say it is time for her to make the move to the WNBA, where she can start dominating on a larger stage.
Clark. Buckled Clark's knees.
Some supporters are concerned about the influence of NIL partnerships on college sports. Will money affect how athletes approach their careers? Could the allure of lucrative endorsement deals drive athletes away from their collegiate experiences too soon? It's a heated argument, and Caitlin Clark is suddenly at the center of it. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. Lynn Dunn's statement highlights a far larger issue: how the environment of women's basketball is fast altering. Between NIL contracts, the WNBA's expanding popularity, and the expectations put on young players, the game is developing in ways we haven't seen before. Women's basketball has grown at an incredible rate in recent years. The WNBA is more competitive than ever, and viewership continues to grow. College basketball programs benefit from more publicity, and talents like Caitlin Clark
Made that team so good, you two. Outside Clark again!
leading the charge. However, as the sport increases, so will the problems. For young athletes like Clark, the future is full with possibilities. However, it also entails maintaining a public profile, navigating financial issues, and making career-defining choices. What will Caitlin Clark's next step be? The basketball world awaits with bated breath. Will Caitlin Clark continue her historic career at Iowa, or will she join the WNBA and beyond? One thing is certain, whatever happens next, the future of women's basketball will be forever changed.
We thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here, and I've put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years, but like Coach Bluder and Kate said, there's...
Subscribe for more breaking news and updates on your favorite athletes.
And Angel Reese, she was fired up after the win. She posted this, it's now a deleted comment on social media, but she'd said, quote, "And that's on getting a win in a packed arena, not just because of one player on our charter flights. Skytown."
Angel Reese, previously regarded as one of the most promising young players in women's basketball, has delivered a bombshell after her unexpected departure from the Chicago Sky. What really happened? What caused her firing? And why has this crisis become so explosive that it is rocking the league to its foundation? Stay tuned, because we're going to break everything down, exposing the drama, claims, and aftermath of one of the most scandalous scandals in WNBA history. You will want to take advantage of it.
For both of you guys, just what was your perspective and kind of just from where you were on the court? What did you see on that double tech on Angel?
She got ejected. She got 2 techs. She said something to the ref, and so whatever he felt like was the correct call is what he made. It's more about composure for us in our young years in the WNBA. So,
getting to know refs and how they respond to things.
Angel Reese, a name that once excited basketball fans, was seen as one of the WNBA's next great things. With her exceptional court abilities, unrivaled athleticism, and strong resolve, many thought she was about to take the league by storm. In college, Reese dominated the game, catching the attention of scouts, pundits, and fans. Her WNBA debut was widely anticipated, and the Chicago Sky considered her a vital asset for the future.
We'll give it up to Allen. They're going to give up that shot to her. Reese puts it up. Count the bucket. Body bucket and one for Angel.
She was called a potential cornerstone player for the Sky, poised to usher in a new era of success for the club. Many people anticipated that her battle with Caitlin Clark would become one of the most legendary matchups in women's basketball history. The setting was set for Reese to become a household star and lead her squad to success. However, things took an unexpected dark turn.
Edwards back on board in terms of touches, in terms of decision making, but right there, Reese plucks it away.
Carter goes to Reese. Count the bucket and the foul.
Momentum right now swings to the Chicago Sky, and it's been their defense that has really made the biggest difference. Their ability to get out into the open.
Reese's first season with the Chicago Sky could have lived up to expectations. Despite glimpses of brilliance on the court, the squad struggled throughout the season, losing more games than it won. A terrible 13-27 record has left fans and observers wondering what went wrong. While some ascribe the team's poor performance to chemistry concerns, others blame the coaching staff for failing to use Reese's skills adequately. Behind the scenes, however, there was much more going on than anybody realized.
You've mentioned it all evening long, though. It's just been so hard for New York to get stops. Chicago again, and one opportunity, Angel Reese. The way Chicago has responded to New York taking the lead.
It shows a lot of grit.
Rumors circulated of a rift between Angel Reese and the head coach, Teresa Weatherspoon. These rumors began as murmurs of arguments and miscommunications, but they quickly developed into something much more. Insiders described a serious cultural conflict between Reese and Weatherspoon, which was becoming hard to ignore.
Favor, but regardless of that, I have a tremendous amount of respect for this team and this coaching staff and what they're doing tonight.
It's a great shot. You got Angel Reese, your star rookie.
Then came the bombshell. Angel Reese stated that she felt betrayed by someone she had previously trusted. In an unexpected turn of events, Reese publicly accused Weatherspoon of pushing her too hard and reportedly encouraged her to take dramatic steps to improve her performance. This accusation shook the WNBA world. What precisely were the severe measures? According to accounts, Reese stated that Weatherspoon had a role in her choice to use performance-enhancing chemicals. Let us halt here for a while. If accurate, this claim would drastically change the story of Reese's on-court troubles. Instead of a simple instance of a player underperforming, this was growing up to be a scandal with far-reaching implications. What about the fans? They were speculating wildly.
But yeah, well, once you hear it and you've heard it and you've spoken about it, you move on. You move on from it. And that's what we did as a team. We spoke about it. We did what we had to do as a team to speak about how we conduct ourselves, and we moved on from there. The world kept speaking. You let the world keep speaking, but you have a job to do. And that's to get back between those four lines and get yourselves together to prepare to go back out and compete. And that's what we did.
Reports started to emerge that Angel Reese had tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. The news slammed like a sledgehammer, destroying the image of the rising star who was expected to dominate the league. Reese allegedly resorted to these medications to cope with the increasing strain of playing against players like Caitlin Clark, who had been rewriting the WNBA's record books in her first season. However, why would Reese stoop to such measures? According to some sources, the pressure to remain relevant in a league dominated by stars like Clark drove her to make poor judgments. Reese, who had always flourished on the floor, started to feel overshadowed. Reese found it difficult to stay up, both physically and psychologically, while Clark broke records and signed huge sponsorship agreements.
She's meant everything to me. I mean,
love you, kiddo.
I've had amazing coaches in my career, but this one is like special. She understands me off the court. She understands me on the court. She believes in me. Shots that I take, that she wants me to take. She believes in me that I may not believe in myself. So being able to come to the league and feel at home, being able to be here. I remember sitting on the computer talking to her when I was going through the process of the draft process, and I was like, please, God, let me go to Chicago. Like, please, I don't care where I drop to, let me go to Chicago, because we know that feeling when you know somebody loves you and believes in you, not just as a basketball player, but as a human being. It's special. And just coming from her, like, I'm away from home. My mom believes that I'm okay away from home. So it's family here, and I just feel I'm blessed to have Coach.
This pressure resulted in one of the most major scandals in WNBA history, Reese's suspected use of performance-enhancing drugs, and even worse, allegations that her coach may have had a role in pushing her down this road. The consequences did not end with Reese. Teresa Weatherspoon, a recognized coach and former player, found herself engaged in the scandal. Weatherspoon had only been with the Chicago Sky for a short time, but her time there was defined by increasing irritation, pressure to turn around a losing season, and eventually a mistake that might have lost both her and Reese their jobs.
She's meant everything to me. I mean,
love you, kiddo.
I've had amazing coaches in my career, but this one is like special. She understands with me off the court. She understands me on the court. She believes in me. Shots that I take that she wants me to take, she believes in me that I may not believe in myself. So being able to come to the league and feel at home, being able to be here. I remember sitting on the computer talking to her when I was going through the process of the draft process, and I was like, please, God, let me go to Chicago. Like, please, I don't care where I drop to, let me go to Chicago, because we know that feeling when you know somebody loves you and believes in you, not just as a basketball player, but as a human being. It's special. And just coming from her, like, I'm away from home. My mom believes that I'm okay away from home. So it's family here, and I just feel I'm blessed to have Coach.
Weatherspoon's role in the affair became a source of dispute. Did she genuinely push Reese to take performance-enhancing drugs? Or was this just a player making excuses for her own bad choices? Regardless, the charges tarnished Weatherspoon's image, and she was fired as head coach shortly after the story surfaced. The Chicago Sky, trying to restore its reputation and separate itself from the issue, acted quickly. Reese was suspended, awaiting an inquiry into her drug test results, while Weatherspoon was discreetly let go. But the harm was already done. The crew, once optimistic about the future, was now dealing with a public relations nightmare.
Third quarter, and here's the moment everyone's going to be talking about. This is Caitlin Clark going to the hole, and that's Angel Reese with the foul, hits her in the head. It's a flagrant one. What do we see?
Yeah, Angel Reese, it looks like she's trying to get the block shot. It's frustrating for Chicago fans because Isabel Harrison was right there to make a beautiful play, but Izzy hits her with the body, Angel hits her in the head.
Fans and reviewers were split. Some defended Angel Reese, claiming that the pressure on her was unjustified and that people around her had exploited her. Others regarded her as the villain, someone who had willfully violated the rules and betrayed her teammates. Regardless of whatever side people took, one thing was clear: Reese's career was at significant risk. As with every significant incident in today's society, social media was flooded with comments on the news. Fans, commentators, and even former players weighed in on the matter, expressing their perspectives and opinions. Hashtags like Angel Reese scandal and Weatherspoon betrayal trended for days as people discussed the scandal's aftermath.
We'll have more thoughts on it in a moment. In the meantime, when this game was being decided, it was Caitlin Clark knocking down big shots. She had 23 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and here she will find Alyssa Smith for the dagger layup. Angel Reese had 11 points, 13 boards, and the Fever get the win. Here they are, the two rivals after the game.
Some said Angel Reese was a victim of circumstance, forced by an unforgiving league that expected perfection from its players. Others said she brought this on herself by succumbing to the temptation of taking shortcuts rather than working harder. The chasm between Reese's supporters and her detractors widened with each passing day. One of the most notable points of comparison during the controversy was Caitlin Clark, who was enjoying a breakthrough season in the WNBA. Clark, who had been seen as one of Reese's main competitors, was prospering as Reese's career deteriorated. Clark had received honors, set records, and emerged as the league's face, all without controversy.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Many admirers perceived Clark as the opposite of Reese, hardworking, talented, and clean. While Clark was being praised as the new face of women's basketball, Reese was at the center of one of the league's greatest drug scandals in history. The difference between the two players could not have been greater, and it only fueled conjecture about Reese's demise. As the inquiry into Reese's positive drug test persisted, her public image deteriorated. Endorsement agreements fell through, supporters turned against her, and her once promising career was dangling by a thread. The media was unrelenting in its coverage of the controversy, with each new revelation creating headlines.
I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Reese's squad, the Chicago Sky, made it obvious that they would be moving on. The message was clear. They couldn't afford to maintain someone who was such a burden. Reese was formally released from the squad, ending her time with the Sky in shame. Following her termination, Angel Reese finally came up, throwing a bombshell of her own. In a poignant interview, Reese denied using performance-enhancing drugs. She stated that she was pushed to her breaking point by the league, her coach, and the media.
Now look, let's get to the WNBA, where Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese was ejected from the game last night against the New York Liberty after drawing consecutive technical fouls. The ejection happened after Reese was called for her 5th foul and was, quote, disrespectfully addressing, end quote, official Charles Watson. Angel Reese is a rising star in the WNBA, drafted 7th overall by the Sky 2 months ago. On Monday, Reese addressed the media following that controversial technical foul on her teammate, Kennedy Carter, who shoved Caitlin Clark, a move that drew national headlines. Reese made it clear that fans are watching women's basketball not because of, quote, one player, but because of her as well. Today, the WNBA rescinded the second technical upon further review, according to a league source, which does not mean much at this point in my estimation. Let me tell y'all why I'm bringing this up.
Reese portrayed an image of a young athlete who was overwhelmed by the demands put on her and who had been taken advantage of by her peers. She acknowledged that she had made errors, but she asserted that she had never planned to cheat. This interview created a fresh round of controversy. Some fans sympathized with Reese, considering her a victim of the harsh realities of professional athletics. Others weren't persuaded, feeling Reese was only attempting to save what remained of her career.
Over the last few days, the Caitlin Clark situation where Kennedy Carter side hipped her, basically checked her with a, side hip move and whatever, knocking her to the ground. And it was national news because Caitlin Clark has been taking quote unquote abuse since she's arrived in the WNBA. That kind of story gained national attention. It was something that was debated on my day job, First Take, on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. to noon. And in the process of talking about that particular subject, one of the things that I highlighted was that Caitlin Clark's the golden goose. She happens to be a terrific talent who's white and very, very marketable. The combination of the two things make her the golden goose for the WNBA. Go after her, compete with her, get the better of her at every turn. Nobody's questioning that you can't go after her. But what I was saying was, although whether it's jealousy, envy, resentment, it's all justifiable because there were people that were pounding the pavement and going through so much to help elevate the WNBA's profile long before Caitlin Clark ever came along. And yet, were denied that level of recognition and that level of appreciation.
Angel Reese's future in the WNBA remains unknown. While she has been sacked from the Chicago Sky, it is possible that she may return to the league depending on the conclusion of the inquiry. However, even if she is acquitted, her reputation may be irreversibly ruined. Many have speculated whether Reese would attempt to make a return or if she will completely retire from basketball. Regardless of what happens next, this incident will be a watershed point in her career, perhaps following her for the rest of her life. The Angel Reese affair teaches us many valuable lessons. For starters, it emphasizes the enormous pressure put on professional athletes to perform at the greatest level, frequently at the risk of their mental and physical well-being. For example, the WNBA.
Angel Reese was older. I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable, it's egregious, it's disgusting, it's wrong, and there's a bunch of punk, no good, you know what's out there on the male and female side who are abusive because they're really, really good at being that way when they're behind keyboards and away from cameras and out of the spotlight where people know exactly who the hell they are. The only reason that I brought up the first part about Angel Reese is this. Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, etc., etc. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship.
Many professional sports leagues are competitive environments, and the pressure to achieve may lead athletes to make poor judgments. Furthermore, the controversy has raised serious concerns regarding the role of coaches and team administration in an athlete's career. Teresa Weatherspoon's apparent participation in Reese's collapse has shed light on the power that coaches may have, for better or ill.
I don't really get to stand up for myself. I mean, I have great teammates. I have a great support system. I got my hometown. I got my family that stands up for me. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down and like not be there for them. So I just want to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like,
the WNBA has grown in popularity in recent years, due in part to the success of players like Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson. However, the Angel Reese incident has put doubt on the league's integrity. While the league will certainly survive this scandal, it serves as a reminder that no professional sports league is free of trouble. The WNBA will have to work hard to rehabilitate its image in the aftermath of this controversy, and it will most likely need to examine the expectations imposed on its players carefully. As fans, we hope that this tragedy will result in beneficial reforms to the league, ensuring that players get greater assistance both on and off the court. Angel Reese's career, once full of promise and possibility, is now hanging in the balance. The young athlete, long seen as the WNBA's future, is now at a crossroads. Whether she recovers from this controversy remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: this narrative is far from done.
All this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm gonna always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are, keep waking up every day, keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down, and just be confident.
We will keep you posted on any developments in this scenario as they occur. In the meantime, we'd like to hear your opinions. Do you believe Angel Reese deserves another chance? Should she be permitted to rejoin the league, or has her career come to an end? Please let us know in the comments below. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to stay up to date. Check out our earlier video on the current WNBA scandal. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.